Is Mike on?
First tonight, quite the scare for a woman in Brunswick. She woke up early this morning around 2 a.m. to find an intruder standing over her bed, threatening to cut her with a knife.
Can you imagine? This happened in Maine. I will discuss it at the end of the episode, but she fought him off. 87 years old. She fought off a teenager, which is making me think maybe we could have an older president. Who knows? What's wrong with Orny Adams? 87 starts now. You'll be happy to know what I will be discussing on this podcast. I have a lot, but the perils and promises of penis enlargement surgery. That's right. This was in the New Yorker. So if it's in the New Yorker, I can discuss it. But breaking now. More girls are going through puberty earlier due to pandemic lifestyles, a study says. More girls started puberty before age 8. Before age 8. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a phenomenon called precocious puberty. The study confirms it. Now, what's causing this? Contributing factors include poor eating, poor exercise habits, too much screen time, and impaired sleep. I might go through puberty again. I suffer all this. 87. Here we go.
What's his name, Kev?
Orny.
I'm on fire. I'm ready today. Nice and early. It's going to be hot again. Scorching here in Los Angeles. Really hard to maintain your property if you have living plants like I do. I'm having trouble with sago palms. Calling out all the sago palmists. What's going on? My leaves are turning yellow. And I posted it. There's an app where you can post and it tells you what could be wrong with it. This is what the app comes back. Ready? Bringing this down. Couldn't eat fertilizer. Could be caused, the yellowing leaves could be caused by not enough water or too much water. Well, that helps. That really helps. So how am I supposed to know if I'm too much water or too little water? Climate's changing. Things are going crazy. I don't know. I feel like I'm watering it the exact same. So that's what I'm waking up to. Then I went to turn this board on today, and it didn't turn on. I go, I can't take another electronic blip. One of my TVs isn't working. The box, the ATT Uverse box is probably fried. Now I got to deal with that. I feel like I'm constantly resyncing, refreshing, restarting. I'd like to remove all of this from my life. I really would. A lot to discuss today. A lot of fun stuff. I just got a nice fan email right before I was about to come in and record from Melissa. She was at my show at the Ice House in Pasadena last month. I'll be back at the Ice House in Pasadena August 19th. Then I'll be there in September. So go to my website, grab tickets if you want to see me live. I don't think she'll mind me sharing this because I actually gave her what the kids call a shout out in the last episode. This just came in. As I was walking into the studio, I was handed this. Firstly, Orny, I'd like to thank you for mentioning my dad and I in your latest podcast episode. It was such a pleasure to meet you, ! You were so kind for taking the time to talk to us, and you killed on stage. Well, let me explain something. I have nothing else to do. So that's why I talk to people. Otherwise, I just leave the show and I go home bored. You don't know what it's like as a performer. You're on stage in front of all these people, and hopefully they're adoring you, and they're clapping, and they're on your every word, and they're applauding you, and you're talking to people, and they're not on their phones. Although somebody was on the phone the other night at the Improv, and I had to say something. And then you leave, and you go home, and you're alone. You're just all alone and lonely. And so that's why I talked to you after the show, Mel. You were absolutely hilarious. You made my dad's night pointing him out while you were on stage. Well, this guy's been at several of my shows. There was a guy at my show the other night at the Improv. He's been several times. And he always wears these glasses, like these welding glasses. I was like, are you blind? I needed to know finally if he was blind because I'd seen him in the audience so many times. She wrote to clarify. I asked her, she said she watches all the episodes. She's a Patreon subscriber. Thank you. By the way, I just uploaded a video to Patreon just for the Patreon subscribers of me setting up the show today. To clarify, my favorite episodes are 17, 28, 55, and 72. Are there any people chronologic, anybody cataloging my episodes, can you tell me what 17, 28, 55, and 72 are? Or anytime you use a Winston Churchill or John McEnroe sound bits. I just looked. I must have taken it off the board. I've got one that says Cass. Remember that? Cass and Churchill. Remember Cass, that acting director that yelled, nothing. This one?
There is nothing that you have not experienced and known.
Yeah. Well, now I got, I did like a matchup, or what do they call those things? These
That
things.
I have held firmly to the belief that there never is a need
Never.
That's Winston.
for substitution.
Never.
Because I never had this situation.
Never. Anyway, that's for you. She said, after meeting you after the show, I won a little space cadet when you asked what the favorite episodes were. I was a little shy about meeting you. Of course, it's a big deal meeting a big-time celebrity like me who has no life when he goes home. I really enjoy listening to your podcast. I respect your authenticity, points of view, and your attention to detail. You're so intelligent and motivating. Wow, this is really nice. You have such a creative mind and heart with all that you do. Well, thank you. We are excited to see you again at the Ice House this month. Now that they're going to come back and sit in the front row again, and now I'm going to have anxiety that they're seeing a lot of the material that they've already seen. So listen, I love that people come back. But this is what I want to know. If you come back a couple of weeks later like they are you disappointed that you're seeing stuff you've already seen? I'm breaking down some barriers, probably things that comics don't usually discuss, but it takes years to develop all this stuff. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. Let me finish this letter. I'll make sure to tell my dad to wear a louder Hawaiian shirt. This guy shows up wearing a Hawaiian shirt. If you've seen my special More Than Loud, I'm not keen to that. I'm starting to think he likes the abuse. Thank you again. You're truly one of a kind. All the best, Mel. Thank you, Mel. Thank you for being a Patreon subscriber and all that stuff. I'm going to say this. When I started doing comedy, you spent years on the road. You took your time developing. You let bits evolve and marinate. And you let thoughts come to you later. There wasn't this need for output. Like me, I've got to do a podcast almost every day, every week, or I've got every day I'm doing something. I'm doing something on camera every single day, whether it's putting clips out there of my stand-up, little videos, podcasts. This is all new. I evolved in a time, my brain, when you didn't have to have so much output. It took years to do an hour of comedy. I remember when I finished Takes the Third or More Than Loud, one of my specials, one of my reps said, well, we've got to start preparing to shoot the next one. I'm like, next one? We just did this. Shouldn't we take a minute to enjoy it? You used to be able to live off of your creations longer. Now, come on, Orny. It's been a week since you did a podcast. Come on, where are you? Hey, Orny, you okay? I haven't seen you post anything. Everything okay? I haven't seen you on any social media. What's going on? Everything okay? What's going on? You must not be relevant anymore. Hey, Orny, while you were taking 2 days off, not doing anything, guess what? We found somebody new. We found somebody new that we like. You better put out, create, till your head explodes, till you have no life at all. No life at all. That is the current state of being an entertainer. Why am I still wearing headphones? So, here we go. 8 pages of notes. Let's start discussing some of this stuff. I'm going to discuss... here's another social media post from somebody to one of my... at Orny Adams. That's how you can find me. ORNY Adams. Although some people spell it ORNI. Like I was looking at some of the podcast reviews on Apple, and it's like, thanks. 2 of them said, thanks, Orny. ORNI. Do I need to now monitor that spelling of my name? This gentleman wrote, first name's Asher, I'll say that. I'd like to see more guys like at Orny Adams run for office. Be like Al Franken. Don't get mad. Get elected. Put me in, coach. World's best second job for a comedian. Go kick some ass. If Schwarzenegger can do it, Orny, ! I'll campaign for you. Seriously consider. I don't know who this guy is. Let's start raising money, buddy. I'll say this. I don't think there's anything worse. I would never want to be a politician nowadays. I can't stand the bureaucracy, the crap, how hard it is to push bills through, common sense. I could only do change if I could do it like Bill Gates. Bill Gates made a ton of money. Now he uses that money to make change. So I remember reading an article years ago where he said if he wants to try giving a community mosquito nets to see if he can fight malaria, he just buys a bunch of mosquito nets and gives it to them. He doesn't have to run it up some ladder, ask somebody to get permission, deal with egos. There's too many egos. Do you see what it takes to pass a bill? We can't even pass bills in Congress to balance our debt. We can't even come to terms on just basic common sense. If the world had to pass a bill or a law right now to come up with how we measure time, we wouldn't be able to do it. We couldn't even, it's amazing that the world still has consensus on time, that we all consider 24 hours in a day. And you laugh, you go, well, it has to do with the rotation of the earth, and there's 365 and a quarter days in a rotation. But believe me, yes, that's science. But there's people nowadays that wouldn't believe in that. That they're saying, no, the earth is flat. It doesn't even rotate. So the fact that we can agree on time, I'm glad we got that pushed through years ago, because that wouldn't happen now. I remember when I was called for jury duty and I sat there sitting through all this procedural stuff. I said, I don't have the patience for this. This person's guilty. Let's put him away. I don't have time for procedure that gets in the way of moving things forward in an expeditious manner. I just looked at my notes and I saw Penoplasty. I got to discuss this. Do you want to hear that? I don't know who I'm talking to right now. Do you want to hear that? Or do you want to hear about me being thrown out of a restaurant last Friday in Los Angeles? What do you want to hear? I'm going to end on some crime stories. I know that much because there's more crime than ever. This is a headline. Ready for this? Fast food not fast enough. I've said this for years. We have become a fast food world. Everything is fast food. Meaning, even if you go into any business, they treat it like fast food now. They don't care if you ever come back. The employees don't want to be there. The product sucks. Pride in workmanship is out the door. Very few mom and pops. It's all about margins. It's all about, which we'll come back to this restaurant that was thrown out of, and it all comes back to how quickly can we get you in and out, get your money. We don't care if you're satisfied. We don't care if you complain anymore. You used to be able to complain. Businesses used to care. They don't care anymore. Especially with the internet, we over-complained. Everybody over-complained, and now people like me that are really good at complaining, we don't carry as much weight anymore. You should have just left it up to me to complain for you. I know what's wrong. I know how to address it. Now, even being verified, these businesses don't care. They don't care. They don't care if Orny Adams ever comes back. They don't care if I write this is the worst place I've ever been to. Yeah, I'll name the restaurant I was thrown out of in a few minutes. They won't care. They won't care. What do we care? It's still busy. And when it stops being busy, we'll change the name, we'll hire a new chef, and we'll call it something else. And all you dumb fools will come back. Because we take this abuse. That's why, like, with this incident on an airline, and people, I'll never fly this airline again. You think they care? You will fly that airline again. When you need to go nonstop to that city, that airline is the only airline that flies nonstop to. You will. You will. Americans are so busy, many won't even get out of their cars to go shopping. Oh, God, are we dumb? Nearly half of Americans in a new poll would avoid going to a store that didn't have a drive-thru option. I see this when people are lined up in the morning for their coffee. I'm like, there's a huge drive-thru line. and there's nobody inside. And I always just park and walk in. Now, the problem is my order is now competing with the order of the people online. They should really treat the customer that comes in a little bit better. The survey of 2,000 U.S. adults found that twice as many people prefer drive-through to actually entering a store on foot. A third of those preferred drive-thrus claim that they will always choose the option when available. These are like coffee places, fast food, banking. They say they want to sit in the car because they want to stay on their devices. They don't want to be around other people. I don't know what happens to us as a species. I really don't. I really think that these conveniences, including electronics, have destroyed us. Destroyed us. We're supposed to, as humans, interact, evolve. It's supposed to be about love. It's not supposed to be a love with your device. And that's what it's become. Americans are so busy, they won't even get out of their cars to go shopping. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Really. Really. Let's talk about penis enlargement. Isn't that really why we're here? To discuss that? To discuss penile enlargement? This article was in the New Yorker. It's called Penoplasty, by the way. I'm not going to say penile enlargement. I'm going to say penoplasty because it makes me sound more sophisticated, doesn't it? When I say penoplasty, hey, how's your penoplasty surgery going? I'm going to ask the audience. Anybody here have penoplasty surgery? Anybody want to admit to that? They follow this guy, Mick, who had a bad experience. Now, before I completely malign this, towards the end of the article, they did bring up that people tend to complain more when something goes bad than when things go good. But the other thing about penis enlargement surgery is a lot of people, they're not going to come forward and talk about having a bad penis enlargement experience. It's just not something you bring up at the cocktail party. Oh, hey, what's new? What's new? Well, things with the penis enlargement surgery didn't go so well. I can't believe the number of people that are unhappy with the size of their penis. It's amazing. Look at this article. It's a bit long. Okay, this guy Mick. I'm going to put glasses on for this one. No messing around. Let's see how these new clear glasses look. That's not bad, right? Why am I so ashamed that I have to wear glasses now? Why am I so ashamed about getting older? I'm older. Why don't I ever want to grow up? And don't write me and tell me why. I don't care what your opinion is. This is what's wrong with Orny Adams. I'll tell you what's wrong with Orny Adams. I know I don't want to hear from you. You ever just complain and you just want to complain? And then the person starts offering advice. You're like, I got to lose 5 pounds. You just want to say that. And they're like, well, are you eating late at night? Are you eating more? Obviously. Have you thought about cutting out sodium and pink sea salt? Pink Himalayan sea salt? Hey, I don't mean to be an asshole, but I actually wasn't asking for advice. I just sort of wanted to say it. I wanted you to know that that's what I was thinking about. Sorry, I'm a little upset about the, penal surgery. Penal surgery. Mick. That's his middle name. By the way, I can discuss this. This was in the New Yorker. Now, when I was growing up, the New Yorker was, this is it. I always wanted to be published in the New Yorker. Wanted to do a Shouts and Murmurs. Guess what? That dream didn't come true either. If we're keeping track of dreams that didn't come true, put that one on the list. Mick wanted a bigger penis because he believed it would allow him to look in the mirror and feel satisfied. I don't think I've ever looked in the mirror at my penis. Is there something wrong with me? Is that something that guys do? He had trouble imagining what shape the satisfaction would take, since it was something he'd never actually experienced. Small and dark-haired, he found his adolescence to be a gauntlet of humiliating compromises or comparisons. Oh, in the locker room. Interesting. None of Mick's romantic partners ever commented on his size. Well, there you go, Mick. But his preoccupation had a way of short-circuiting his mood. He tried several kinds of self-acceptance therapy without success. Whenever he went to the bathroom, there it was, mocking him like a little evil root. I'm reading from the article. It gets in there and grows like a tree. Well, too bad your penis doesn't, Mick. The thought gets in there and grows like a tree. The thought of the penis is growing, just not your penis. But I think everybody has that on some level about something. Well, that's true. Way to make us all think a little bit here, Mick. Way to make us all reflect. After high school, Mick decided to study art and move to Berkeley. We don't really care about Mick this much, do we? So he goes to get an implant. The device is called Penuma. And it had been invented by James Elise, a silver-haired urologist. TMZ described him as the Thomas Edison of penis surgery. Elise's procedure was touted as reversible. And according to an article in GQ, more than 1,000 men had already undergone the surgery. As far as Mick could tell, the only genital enhancement on the market to have received the blessing of the Food and Drug Administration. I'll get into that in a minute, why this got approved, which is shocking. The basic operation cost $15,000, roughly half of Mick's life savings. This is what Mick's decided to put his life savings into. Though he added a pair of discounted testicular implants. Not too sure I want the discounted testicular implants. I'd rather pay full price. What is this, last season's implants? What am I getting, last season's testicular implants? I don't want listen, if I'm getting testicular implants, I want the cutting edge. I want this season's. I want what's in. I don't want someone to look at my testicles and go, yeah, you got last season's testicles in there. So the testicle implants were another $7,000. He put down a deposit and told his long-distance boyfriend that he was taking a work trip. He was keeping a secret from his boyfriend. Anyway, cut 2. Goes in for a consultation for the penile enlargement with Penuma. It lasted 5 minutes. He signed a stack of consent forms and releases. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not letting anybody ever touch my penis for elective surgery. That's me. If I were. Now, any surgery. You should have seen me when I had knee surgery. All the questions I ask. You should see me when I get a tooth worked on. All the questions I ask. If I was getting penile in surgery, I would have a million questions to the point where they're thinking, we don't even want to operate on this guy. He's asking too many questions. That's what happens. I wonder if they circle the penis. You know, we get knee surgery, they circle the knee so they know which knee to operate on. So I know the joke was there is only one penis. I got it. It didn't translate, but in my head I thought there's something there. Then I said it, and guess what? There was nothing there. So he goes in for consultation, lasts 5 minutes. Then, when the surgery was over, Mick, still groggy from the general anesthesia, took an Uber to Motel 6 near the airport, where he spent the next 5 days alone on his back. I'll say this, probably nothing worse than staying in a Motel 6, except staying at a Motel 6 after having penile enlargement surgery, laying on your back for 5 days. This guy spent $15,000 on the surgery. He should have budgeted to stay in a nice hotel. He sat there for the next 5 days alone on his back, his penis mummy wrapped in gauze. Morning erections were excruciating. Sharp jolts seized his crotch whenever he peed, which he could only do by leaning over the bathtub. Hold on here! Is this guy pissing into the bathtub in Motel 6? He anticipated some discomfort, but when he changed his gauze, he started to see the corners of the implant protruding under his skin like a misplaced bone. Oh, whoa, we got a problem here. The implant is protruding. This is why you don't mess with God's perfection, the penis. Back in Seattle, the pneuma's edges continue to jut out, particularly on the right side, although the testicular implants look fine. Wow, the discounted testicular implants were working okay. He decided not to tell his boyfriend about the operation. Talking to him would only make it seem more real, and he wasn't yet prepared. Here's where it gets even worse. Then he began to lose sensation. He writes the doctor, I know it's only been 3 weeks, sends an email, but I'm a bit concerned about the look. As you can see in the pictures, now he's sending the doctor dick pics. It's been 70 days since the surgery, and it feels like a shrimp, he wrote in November. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. Now, how is this possible? How is it FDA kissed in? What happened? Because the FDA requires the pharmaceutical industry to conduct clinical studies on new drugs, it is often assumed that the same is required of medical device manufacturers. However, a loophole known as 510K process allows companies to implant untested products in patients as long as they can demonstrate that the devices are substantially equivalent to those already on the market. In September 2004, not long after Elis convinced the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office of the novelty of his invention, he informed the FDA that his silicone block was comparable to the calf and butt implants. So, because they were doing this on butt implants and calf implants, he said, well, this is similar. Let's just put in a penis. Well, a penis is an organ that grows, hopefully, and it's not even close. It's your penis. So this is what's scary about medical. This is what, and they make you sign these forms, and in the forms, they ask you if something goes wrong, don't seek advice from other doctors, and don't look for answers on the internet. Well, that sounds very controlling. That sounds like they know something could go wrong. That sounds like they know there's information out there that they're worried about. Now, Mick is lucky because 65-year-old diamond dealer billionaire died during the surgery for penis enlargement. A Belgian Israeli billionaire died on a Parisian operating table while getting an unknown substance injected in his penis. People are dying to have a bigger penis. This guy, 65 years old, not even that old, a billionaire, has everything. By the way, I think Jeffrey Epstein might have had this, because remember that deposition where they described his penis as being egg-shaped? That's one of the complications of this, that your penis looks like an egg. You're 65 years old, you're a billionaire, you have money, and you're still not happy. How small, I want to know how small the guy's penis was that he died. And he died from complications, but it was during penis surgery. Now, why is pneuma surgery so popular? I'll tell you why. Because physicians are reimbursed rates for prosthesis. There's a penis pump, and if you get a penis pump, that's covered by insurance. So the doctors get about $800 for doing a penis pump in surgery. But if they do pneuma, this new one, which is like a block of silicone, they can make 6 times as much because it's not covered by insurance. 4 months after Mick's pneuma surgery, he told the doctor that he was losing sensation and he had numbness, and the doctor at least told him that his penis would return in no time. Well, he doesn't want it to return. He wants it to return bigger. That's why he got the surgery. Having invested so much financially and psychologically in the implant, Mick felt grateful for the doctor's assurances and told him and tried to focus on, I'm touching my penis as I read this. Mine's still there. Mick felt grateful for the doctor's assurances and tried to focus on his paintings and other parts of his life. But the numbness in his penis reminded him of having a limb fall asleep indefinitely. Is there anything worse than that? That feeling of your limb falling asleep? Well, yes, there is. Of your penis falling asleep feeling. That could be worse. Here's other people that have had mixed experiences with this particular penis. Excuse me. I want to sound more sophisticated. Penoplasty surgery. A truck driver whose device dug into his pubic bone told me that he felt like a prisoner in his own body. An executive at an adhesive company who hid his newly bulging crotch behind a shopping bag when he was walking his dog. I have to do this. Oftentimes I have to hide my bulge behind, a bag or something. Let's see. A sales specialist at an industrial supply store sent me his diary, which imagined, at least as his dressy. So he's writing to the doctor, a list. I wish you would have told me I would lose erection length, he wrote. I wish you had told me it could shift and pinch my urethra and make it very difficult to urinate. I mean, like that guy urinating in the bathtub at Motel 6. That's why I don't stay at those places. It was tricky to bend over to tie laces of winter boots, tricky to slip on a condom, tricky to sleep in comfortable positions, tricky to stretch, tricky to spoon. It makes you look like you're always semi-erect, a health spa vice president said of his pneuma. I couldn't let my kids sit on my lap. Well, that just got creepy. So, this guy describes it. He said there was fluid oozing out, and one time they tried to have... For dozens of patients, I'm skipping around too much, they had troubles. Like Mick, lost sensation. Others said they experienced stabbing pains in the shower during sex. Seroma and excess fluid was not uncommon. This is really disturbing. When a defense and intelligence contractor's girlfriend, registered nurse, aspirated his seroma with a... she took out the seroma with a needle. Oh boy, listen to this. So she took out the fluid with a needle. Oh, this is disgusting. One time they tried to have sex, she told me. The corners of his implant felt like someone sticking a butter knife inside her. Other people, they developed holes in their skin because of the protruding device. Holes in their penis. One guy's hole was whistling. He had a whistling penis. I am doing this, not because I want to say penis 1,000 times on this podcast, but I'm doing this as a public service announcement to people that are considering getting this done. I didn't realize so many people were so unhappy with their penis. I'm unhappy with a lot of things, but thank God not that. Latest doctors described pneuma surgery penises like a torpedo, a penguin, a pig in a blanket. Wow. This guy's implant fractured into pieces and were floating under his skin. They describe themselves as penile cripples. By the way, they all go on a board called the Fallow Board to discuss this. This is remarkable. Now, what happens when they put the implant in the penis? Okay? Well, a body doesn't like a foreign object. So what it does is it develops around it a tissue. It forms an envelope of tissue. None of this sounds good. None of this sounds good. Now, the article does say that there's a lot of people that are happy. I don't want to get into the specifics, but they claim more people are happy than unhappy. But again, would everybody come forward and complain? And I think there's suicide rates with people associated with having a bad experience with penoplasty. Excuse me. It's not good. Oh yeah, they put a mesh. They put a mesh so they put this implant. Then they put a mesh around the tip of the implant towards your tip, and the tip of the mesh is going into the glands of the penis and causing, loss of sensation because you have all those nerves in there. You don't mess with the penis. Don't mess with the penis. That's all I'm saying. If you got a small penis, it's very unfortunate. Unless this is some sort of medical thing, I don't think you should mess with God's beautiful creation, the penis. This guy Mick, none of his partners were complaining about it. Nobody said anything. Now, let's just finish up Mick's story here, okay? A year had passed since Mick's implant. It says explant. Why explant? And he had entered a serious depression. He'd barely noticed when the pandemic restrictions were lifted because he'd continued to stay in his bed. Originally 6.5 inches of Well, what's wrong with that? He had lost an inch. Whenever he caught sight of himself in the mirror, he felt depressed. Here's the other thing. I don't know where it is in the article, but they told people that this could be reversed. And very fortunately, when I was a kid, I came up during the time that CDs came out. Remember CDs for music? And they would say these things were indestructible. They were better than records because they couldn't scratch and skip. And you would go into the CD store. Remember, it's like a scene out of a movie. And they'd throw the CDs. Just hit the board. They would throw the CDs at the wall and stuff like that. And then they'd play them. There was always Dire Straits' Money for Nothing that they would play. They'd use that CD. Well, it turns out that was a load of crock because CDs did scratch and did skip. And after that, I never trusted advances. At least 23 malpractice lawsuits have been filed against Elist in Los Angeles since 1993. He has been named as a defendant in a product liability lawsuit regarding inflatable penile prosthetics brought by plaintiffs Dick Glass and Seaman Brodsky. There's no way this is true. Dick and Seaman are suing the penile doctor? The penile enlargement doctor? There's no way this is true. There's no way. There's no Dick and Seaman. This guy said that his enlargement was so big he had to have the extra large removed. He explained it was very uncomfortable for my wife. She was getting micro tears and was considering getting a procedure done to enlarge that opening. Oh, this is great. This is great. Nobody's happy. Nobody's content with what's going on down there, I guess. Mick says at the end, they followed up with him. He had regained about 80% of his sensation in his penis. I don't know how you quantify that, but he did. He did. Can you imagine the waiting room for the penile surgery? I just... I mean, I feel bad for people that aren't happy, but here's what I'm saying. Well, let me sum this up. Don't get anything done to your body that is not necessary. Listen, I'm not happy with a lot of things about me, with a lot of things with my appearance, but I live with it. And I think to myself, God gave me a sense of humor and a mind, and he didn't give me these other things, but that's fine. You can't have everything. Use what you have, your strengths, and excel using those. And I know that the organ, the phallus, is a little bit different because a lot of our ego is tied to it, but I don't like these people that are getting their faces stretched and all this injection. Believe me, I benefit from injections. My eyes look really tired all the time now because I'm stressed. I'm overly stressed. But I'm not going to get injections. I do slight modifications on things. We all do. We all cover up with clothing or whatever it is. But permanent surgery, you got to really think hard. You got to think hard. And maybe it's because I live in Los Angeles and I walk around and I see people that look like ducks from all the stuff they're putting in their lips. Here's the real problem a lot of people don't discuss. A lot of these people that get work done on their face, everybody, meaning not just women, men, women, everybody, you look older. It makes you look older. 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 All right, let's wrap this. Let's get to the crime portion. Let's take this home. Let's take this home. I didn't mean to spend so much time on penal. Well, yes, I did. Yes, I did. This is from my joke book, April 2016. Maybe we should do a new segment, bits from Orny's notebooks, joke books. April 2016. Why do you think these 7-Eleven workers always fight armed robbers? That's easier than filling out the insurance claim. I mean, I bet they're covered for robberies, but seriously, can you imagine all the paperwork? Easier to wrestle a robber, broom off a robber. Sweeping a gun makes more sense. When I was a kid, you'd see a video of store owners fighting off armed robbers, and you'd think, why are they just using a broom? Didn't make any sense to me. Just give them the money. Insurance will cover it. But now I know there's probably a deductible. And then all the paperwork. Who needs that? Sweep the robber. I'm saying this because this happened in Stockton, California. It broke on the news yesterday. It's a video of a guy going into a 7-Eleven, robbing it, and all he's doing, it's pretty amazing. There's a guy videotaping it too, but all he is doing, I'll put up at the big screen here. He brings in a trash can into the 7-Eleven. Now, a full-size trash can. He wheels it in. Right there immediately, you know something's not right. Nobody's supposed to go into a 7-Eleven with a trash can. And then he starts taking cigarettes right off the shelf. First thing I noticed is, why are the cigarettes right there out in the open on a shelf? Especially in Stockton, California. Usually they're behind the counter. And you have to say, hey, could I? And I don't even know who's smoking anymore. But in the old days, you go, can I get a pack of Marlboro Reds? Can I get So let's watch some of this video and walk you through it. But these guys fought it off. That's why I read you the note from my joke book. These guys fought off the robber. It beat the hell out of him with a stick. And I see crime all the time. I live in Los Angeles. I saw a guy with his little son walk into a Target and steal a big game for the kid that had the wrapping on it. You know, like sometimes you have to have something taken off the security device. He just walked out with it. He'll remove the device later. Nonchalantly, didn't care, not even looking around. In fact, there's usually security guards watching. When I was went to a liquor store called BevMo, a guy had just walked out with under $1,000. That's the threshold. You can walk out with under $1,000 worth of stuff and they won't prosecute. That's where we're at in Los Angeles. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So this guy just goes in. He had done this several times before. And this time, the store clerks decided to tackle him and beat the crap out of him. Now, if this happened more, maybe less people would do these sort of crimes.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
That's the guy recording. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Stockton store beat down as workers wallop a shoplifting suspect trying to steal a trash can full of cigarettes. Tonight, we speak with the man who took out his phone and caught the whole thing on camera.
This is CBS News Sacramento. CBS 13 Sacramento. Robbery beatdown. Here's the guy that recorded this, was in the 7-Eleven when this happened. And by the way, I wish these people would do landscape. I wish they'd do landscape, not the up and down video.
We do have a warning for you, though, straight off the top. Some may find this video disturbing, but let's get right out
Some
to
may
CBS
find it not
13's Madison Keevy, live for us in Stockton tonight with answers from the man behind the camera and the company policy that was likely broken.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's what BevMo said. The company policy is we don't confront people stealing. We don't even say anything. We don't try and stop them. We don't even call the police. What a great company policy. That's why I miss mom and pop stores, because mom and pop stores, there's no company policy. Somebody starts taking something, that's money right out of your pocket. You get the broom, you start sweeping that criminal. You get that product back. When you're a corporation, you're a BevMo or you're a Target, you're afraid of lawsuits. You're afraid of retribution. You're afraid. You have to have a company policy. You're afraid of social media. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that man tells me that at first, when employees went to protect their store at this 7-Eleven in Stockton, that he was impressed and supported what they were doing. But then he said after more than 24 hits, he started to question if it would end in death.
That guy hit him 25 times with a stick. Listen to this.
So I'm shocked right now. I don't know what to think.
The man behind the camera replays a chaotic Saturday.
There's nothing you can do. But there's nothing you can do.
Cell phone video from a Stockton 7-Eleven on the corner of Center and Market Streets.
My philosophy in life is avoid 7-Elevens at all costs. All costs. Nothing. There's always something bad that happens in a 7-Eleven.
Has gone
any store you have to, sorry, I keep pausing. Any store you have to go into where on the door frame, it measures your height. It basically takes a mug shot of you. Stay out of.
viral.
Then next thing I know, guy walks in with a mask.
This guy's just pulling
So I'm
cigarettes right
sensitive,
off the
like,
shelf.
Okay, I got to make it out of here. So let me start talking.
Now, why is
I
he?
asked the man who took this video, who goes by Dita, about
Oh,
what
he
we
is behind
see.
the counter, I think.
A masked man attempts to unload the shelves, mostly cigarettes, dumping the stolen goods into a trash can. He's overheard on video threatening two store employees. This is where things escalate, and 7-Eleven's company protocol is broken.
Like 25, 26
Sorry, I don't mean
hits.
to
Like
laugh.
I couldn't tell me.
Protocol was broken. Yeah, it's time to break protocol. It's time. I don't want to be in there when this happens. And we pay more for this. Crime is so out of control. Why? Can somebody explain? Is it the pandemic? Why is nobody afraid of going to jail anymore? Why don't people fear the police? I don't even people fear being shot. I've seen videos where somebody pulls a gun on somebody. They don't even flinch. We are in weird times. Bizarre. In Los Angeles, you can't be flashy. Now, I was on stage the other night. This is up on social media, this clip, where I'm talking about this guy. He was a real loser. He wasn't really a loser. I just like to say the word loser. I think it's such a funny word. But I was talking about these people that play Ultimate Frisbee as an adult. And I called them losers. And it turned out there was a guy that played Ultimate Frisbee. He was 22 years old. I knew he was a young kid, but I knew he was too old to be playing Ultimate Frisbee. I could eye him. I assessed the situation immediately. And I said, what do you mean? You like tore the country? He goes, yeah, I tore the country. I said, this is like a rich, entitled kid touring the country, spending his parents' money. His poor parents worked so hard to make money, and he's blowing it instead of getting an education and starting to work and becoming an upstanding citizen of the United States, which is what we need. He's touring playing Ultimate Frisbee. And he said, I made the money. I go, oh, sorry. I shouldn't have assumed that you didn't make the money. I said, what'd you, and he said, I did it with crypto. He told me what crypto. And I called him dumb for some reason. And he yells out, I'm dumb, but I'm effing dumb, but I'm rich. You can see the video. It's on all my social media. I'm effing rich. And I said, listen, buddy, that's a good way to get mugged. You never announce, especially in a city like Los Angeles, that you have money. Someone will follow you home. I don't know what that noise is. Somebody will follow you home. Just so everybody knows, I'm in a trailer outside of my home, a Shasta trailer. I don't live in this trailer. People ask me that. I don't. Well, actually, I do. I'm poor. What am I doing? I'm doing a story about how you don't talk about what you have. Yeah, I have nothing. I have nothing. You don't announce. Last night, 2 people were mugged at Craig's in Los Angeles, which is one of the, I think it's the hot spot for celebrities. I've never been there. I'm not into like the whole, scene here in Los Angeles, but it's where every celebrity goes. And 2 people, a couple were held up at gunpoint and they snatched their watches and stuff like that. You don't wear nice watches in Los Angeles and you don't drive nice cars. My neighbors got followed home in their Bentley and robbed. You drive a piece of crap like me. I drive a very, I don't want to say what kind of car, but a very average car that an average person would drive. And guess what? It drives as good as a Bentley. It drives as good as every other car I've ever been in, including some rental cars that are even cheaper. Most cars are pretty much the same now, with comfort and quality and all that sort of. It's not, the difference is negligible to me. People do this for their ego. You know what doesn't come with an average car? Being robbed, being followed home. These people were mugged at gunpoint. But we're not safe anywhere. We're not safe in our homes. The world is so dissatisfied. What's wrong with the world? The level of unhappiness. Everybody wants more, and nobody wants to work. So if you want more and you don't want to work, you might rob and steal. That's what's going on. People used to work, be honest, and let me tell you something. You work an honest day of work, and then you go buy your cigarettes, or you go buy your food, or you go buy your liquor. You feel so good about yourself. There is nothing better than working, earning, and buying. It's okay to have less. Listen, there are times that I'm a little self-conscious about my car. Sure. I went to somebody's house the other day, pretty wealthy person, and I thought, I don't want to park in front. I don't want them to see. But that's ego. That's something you have to, that's something I have to deal with myself. That's what's wrong with Orny Adams. In Maine, an 87-year-old woman fought off an intruder, then fed him after he told her he was hungry. Now, I don't think we should be feeding the crooks. Marjorie Perkins said she awoke at 2 a.m. on July 26 and saw a young man standing over her bed. He had shed his shirt and pants and told her he was going to cut her. I'm going to play a clip. This is a clip from the news broadcast. This is Marjorie. This is her own. I have Marjorie's own words.
I woke up to see a male standing over me by my bed, telling me he was going to cut me.
A terrifying start to the day for 87-year-old Marjorie Perkins.
I jumped out of bed, got my shoes on real fast.
Hold on. What kind of intruder allows you to put your shoes on?
Because they don't have ties, and I was ready to kick.
Oh, whoa. So he's going to start kicking. The shoes didn't have ties. I guess you had like those Skechers. Has anybody tried those Skechers? I want to try those Skechers. Like Skechers. I'd like them to be a sponsor. I want more I want sponsors on this podcast that give me stuff.
Our intruder quickly learned he had picked the wrong home to break into.
That's right. This is a Maine.
Fast, Marjorie
you don't mess with the Northeasterners.
Says she picked up the only thing nearby.
I grabbed my chair, and he grabbed me by the shoulders and pushed me against the wall and so forth. So I took my chair and I kept hitting him.
Having had enough of Marjorie's beating, she says the young man headed for the kitchen.
He said he was very hungry, so I gave him crackers and peanut butter.
All right, that's where our stories divert. You come into my house and you threaten to cut me, you don't get a meal. But this woman fed the guy, gave him peanut butter and crackers and some
While
fruit.
he was eating, Marjorie took the chance to call police.
Oh, that
the
was
intruder
smart.
inside her home on Beverly Drive, police say, is a juvenile who is staying just a few blocks away.
You just don't think it's going to happen in your neighborhood.
This is a
And
neighbor.
Here it is. So it's surprising.
The incident shocking those who live nearby.
This is NBC in Maine.
Looking over her home after, Marjorie says the young man must have got in through this back window.
And this was pushed way over.
No doubt a terrifying experience. But Marjorie says there's no need to have sympathy.
Don't sit and cry about it.
Whoa.
If it comes up again, do it again.
Wow.
Be ready to kick and then pick up a chair and
That's right.
hit somebody with it.
Toughen up, people. Toughen up. Marjorie's right. Enough of this nonsense. Kick the intruder. So, is there a backlash going on where people are fighting back against these criminals? Is that what we have to hope for? This woman was 87 years old. I salute you, Marjorie. Well, not salute you because that would be not fair to our military for the great service that they do. I salute you. I can't think of another word. That's the worst thing about getting older is you think of a word and you go, that's not the word. And then you go, you know what? I'm just going to say the word anyway. And the listener can try and figure out what I'm trying to say. I commend you, Marjorie. I have such respect for you. I think that is pretty damn remarkable that this woman, 87 years old, kicked the intruder. Physically fought back. Now we're worried about our president. Maybe the president needs to kick somebody. I am amazed at some of these older people because I thought at this point you're just in your rocking chair and that's the end of it. So I hope that I have that much energy. I don't know. That is scary to think about somebody in your home. In the middle of the night, you wake up and she says she's ready for more. Now, my concern always with fighting off, I just want to say this. What's wrong with fighting off a criminal? Well, the criminals know where she lives now. They may go back. Same with that 7-Eleven. Those employees have to fear retribution from that person or that person's friends or family or whatever it is. That's what's scary. A judge, and then I'm bringing it home. And by the way, my name is Orny Adams. This is What's Wrong with Orny Adams. You can email me at what'swrong@ornyadams.com. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. Now, what's is usually WHAT''S. No apostrophe. Can't have that in emails. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. And my tour schedule is at ornyadams.com/tour. I'm in negotiations to do some sort of residency in Vegas. Looks like it might be falling apart, but I keep adding dates. I'll be back at the Ice House August 19th in Pasadena, California. Get tickets now. I'll be there in September. I'm about to announce a theater in Cleveland. August 10th, I will make that announcement. I hope Cleveland comes out to support me. I love Cleveland, and I want to start playing theaters. I want to start playing in front of audiences that are facing the stage, that are listening, not on their devices, not being interrupted by wait staff. I love comedy clubs, but I also want to do that. I'll be back on KFI August 13th, Sunday, August 13th. I'll be doing my show again. So check that out. But I'm actually wasting time because I'm trying to find this article about this judge that shot his wife. An Orange County court judge, an Orange County Superior Court judge has been arrested in connection with the shooting wife. Gosh darn it. This podcast was going to be an A+ podcast until I just schmuffled up that whole moment. That's what's wrong with Orny Adams. Perfection eludes me. Boy, I've had some meetings about my career. There's something happening. I think. I have a lot of choices to make. And to have this many choices at my age and this point in my career is great. But I want to thank everyone that supports me, for sure. Everyone that's watching and subscribes to my Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube or just listening to the audio on Spotify or iTunes, or people that come to my shows or people that stop me in the streets, you are part of the fuel that keeps me going. You're part of the fuel. Jeffrey Ferguson, 72, was taken into custody on suspicion of murder. Orange County Superior Court judge arrested in connection with the shooting death of his wife at their home in Anaheim Hills. 72. His wife was 65. Wow. I mean, do you need any more proof at how difficult marriage and relationship? What? This guy didn't even fake cleaning the gun. He was like, forget it. I'm just going to shoot her and go to jail. You're a judge. You have people in front of you all the time. You know the system. You know you're going to be sent away. You know how crappy it is to be in jail. And he still shoots his wife. This is 2 podcasts in a row that I'm ending on some guy shooting his wife. It's scary, scary times. The world. Well, I should end on something positive, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I find something positive and uplifting to tell you, my viewer, my listener, something that will get you through the day? Let me think. I'm going to think for a second. I'm going to take a second before I wrap this up. Just seriously think, what is good? I can't think of anything. Gas prices are going up again. The economy's okay. There's wars for no reason. Death, killing. I don't know. Maybe it's always been like this. Maybe what's wrong with Orny Adams is my eyes are opening up. But I do know this. It could be a better world. And we could be nicer. And that's what I want you to think about. And I want to see you at one of my stand-up shows coming up. Thank you so much, everybody.
Resolve itself into you. But if the everlasting had not fixed his cannon, itself slaughtered.
God, your body was literally responding to what was happening, the turmoil that was going on inside your head. Why such an extreme response?
Thank you so much, everybody. I don't know what that crap was. But hey, Ernesto, edit out that. No, leave it in. What's Wrong with Orny Adams? Episode 87. Ernesto Hurtado will now on a Friday, little friend, edit this.
He's got crazy hair.
He's got great big. What should I do about my hair? It's a good point, Harlan.
What's his name, Kev?
I feel as I get older, time for a change. Time for a change. Well, I'm excited because I'm going through puberty again. If you can think of anything that's good about the world right now, email me at what'swrong@ornyadams.com. Let's keep in touch. I love the people that write in and have suggestions. Somebody just had a suggestion, just sent me about, I discussed on an episode about how we're going to recycle toilet water and tap water. So I know you're listening. You can be a part of this. We all can. Been talking about it on stage. All you people complaining on the internet are getting in the way of me and my complaining. Thank you so much. Episode 87. We'll see you for 88. We'll see you. We'll see you. We'll see you. We'll see you. Oh, shit. I forgot to do the story about me being thrown out of the restaurant. All right, I'll do it on a future episode. It's always something.